Thanks everyone for joining again. If you're a normal attendee, we appreciate your monthly attendance. If you're new to this, thank you for joining for the first time. Our goal, or Anthony's goal, PharmaForce's goal, is to once a month provide great content for all of you out there navigating the ever-changing 340B space. And so it's 30 minutes, and Anthony will go through some slides. I'll add some commentary, and like Hannah said, we'll take questions. Just put them in the question box, and we'll address those in the end. But yeah, 30 minutes of content, and then we'll get to the questions. And I'll pass it over to Anthony Velasquez.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for that introduction. Hannah, thank you for walking us through the new platform that we're using here. So I'm hoping that everything goes well and smooth, and it has so far. So I appreciate all your help with that. All right. So again, just a quick background on myself. I know many of you I got to see at the most recent conference, and I appreciate everyone who came up to me at the conference and all of your kind words about the webinars and attending the webinars. So if you are a regular, thank you so much for joining. If you're new here, as Justin was sharing, we just do a quick 30-minute once a month webinar on a very valuable topic on anything in the 340B space. We have spent a couple of months talking about manufacturer restrictions, what's going on at a federal level, a state level in terms of legislation. And today we're mixing it up a little bit and doing a presentation on the topic of AI and artificial intelligence. So I hope that at the end of this, you get a ton of value and are able to take something from here back to your covered entity or your organization. Okay. Just a quick 10-second about me. I have been in the 340B space for over a decade. Right now, I am the Chief Product Officer here at PharmaForce. I've been in the 340B space for over a decade. Started at an FQAC, went over and worked at a few hospitals, and have been here in the last 6 years overseeing 340B product development and product management. Okay, cool. So I always start with saying nothing in this presentation should be constituted as legal advice. So nothing that I'm going to share should be taken as gospel. Please always check with your team. Anything that you hear in this presentation before you do anything in your 340B program, confirm with your team, your leadership, etc. All right. So let's go into what's the agenda for today. What are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about AI and truly try to define AI, what it is in the context of healthcare, and smaller in the context of the 340B space. I want to share with you some current AI applications that are going around in the market that are being promoted, and kind of want to share my thoughts with you about some of those things. I want to talk about the challenges to AI implementation that I see in the space as it relates to different aspects of implementing artificial intelligence tools. And I also want to talk about the future. What is the future of AI? What are we going to see as the amazing tools that are going to come out in the AI space that are going to help us manage our 340B programs and all of that, and how it could reshape your role. Those of you on this call that are 340B managers, directors, leaders, how your role can be impacted by some of the advanced AI technology that's going to be coming out to the market over the next couple of months, years, etc. So let's go ahead and get started. What is AI, and how do we define it? How does it work? So the world of artificial intelligence is essentially a discipline of training computer systems and algorithms to perform tasks, right? So those of you that are on this call have probably used ChatGPT. Those of you have probably used Google Gemini or Microsoft Copilot, and these tools that are almost conversational type of chatbots and virtual assistants that you can interact with to help. Hey, how can I do this presentation? How can I do this, this webinar? Or hey, can you help me understand this particular topic? So that's a funny comment. AI knows we're talking about them. Yeah, probably it is that. But the field of artificial intelligence, essentially, it's not necessarily new. There's been some very big breakthroughs in the last couple of years. Again, ChatGPT is actually the fastest adopted application ever to exist, and the number of users that it has received and has signed up to use the AI chatbot. But these artificial intelligence tools learn a couple different things, and one, they're actually learning, so they're being trained on a significant amount of data. You all have probably heard the controversies of OpenAI, which is a company that created ChatGPT, using publicly sourced data from the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, and all these other publications, and then using that data to train their model to be able to give updates on what's going on in the news, what's going on, in the world, and being able to provide summaries and things like that based on different questions and prompts. They're also kind of learn reasoning, so how to make decisions and solve problems. I don't know if you saw, but about 2 months ago, ChatGPT came out with a new version called GPT-4 Omni 4.0 that is actually able to help you doing math problems. So you could share your screen, and the AI interface is looking at the math problems and helping you solve those math problems in real time. Like some really, really cool stuff. Nothing like the TI-83 calculators we used to use in middle school. Okay, this is a whole nother level of technology and advancements, and it can interpret data. You can load a picture. We could take a screenshot of this, load it into some of these tools, and it can give you a description, and it would say, hey, I see two guys doing what looks like a presentation on AI, and there's a chat going on the right hand side. So it will give you a sort of overview of those things. So very a lot going on in that world. A lot of new technology coming very, very, very fast. Ultimately, the end goal, I think, of this, or the best use cases, are when it can learn how to take action. So those of you are probably aware, and maybe there's some of you on here that have a Tesla and maybe have full self-driving, right? That's an artificial intelligence, probably the most powerful artificial intelligence, which is a system that has a tremendous amount of data. It learns that data. It learns that at a stoplight you stop. It learns that, on a green light you go, and how to avoid accidents and stuff like that. So that's sort of like a broad understanding of artificial intelligence at a very, 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 very basic level. So at the end of this, I'll spend like a few more minutes on this, but I want you to go back to your boss and tell your boss, do you know what machine learning is? Do you know what natural language processing is? Because I do. And, and you can stand out to your boss and tell them you're educating yourself. So, in AI, there are subfields. Justin, I hope you're following, because I feel like I'm getting I feel like this is like a teaching lesson here. But in AI, there's machine learning, which is the field of loading the data, and the computer learning from the data without being programmed. So you're not telling it this means that or that means this. It's just learning naturally. And then there's the natural language processing, which is within machine learning, that it learns how to interpret that data. So that's why you can go to OpenAI and say, hey, can you help me find the best restaurants in my city for, I don't know, sushi? And it can go out to the internet and say, sure, Justin, here are the top 3 rated restaurants in the city, and here's their phone numbers, so that you can go ahead and call and make a reservation, right? So that natural language processing, where it understands what you're asking and it can give you a response, is technology that's being used to process all of this, similar to Siri or Alexa or all these other things that were already used. Okay, and then you have these large language models. So these are these models that are being trained with a ton of data to do certain tasks. And then you could take those large language models and then you could train them to do very specific tasks. So that's what we are experimenting and doing research and development on here at PharmaForce, which is taking a large language model and then training it specifically on 340B. Okay, so 340B, if you just go to ChatGPT and try to ask it a 340B question, there's a million stuff online, so it's not going to give you very accurate responses. But when you train it very specifically on, I want you to use your skills and your learning to apply that to 340B data and provide and teach the model 340B specific data, use cases, information, then the model is able to provide questions that relate to the 340B space. Okay, so that's a quick a quick crash course on AI and the different subfields of AI, where some of the things that I'm going to share with today are working. All right, so let's talk about current AI applications. And Justin, I'm going to loop you into this because I know that there's been a lot of talks of some of these newer things out in the 340B space that I'd love to get your thoughts on. So I'll start there. Like, what are you hearing as you're talking to customers of what AI technologies are out there and customers wanting to implement, before I kind of go into my three that I'm aware of and listening?
I think we hear mostly that everyone knows that AI is going to play a part in the future of 340B. I don't think a lot of people really understand how it's going to play a part. People are talking about audits done by a bot, which we get pushed back. We hear people pushing back on that piece as far as not being able to give a bot access, right? It's a security night and those types of things. Right. I think that the biggest piece that the covered entities are looking for is an informational tool, like we're talking about, like our Kareem AI, that will tell them that they type in a question about 340B, and maybe it's how should I create policy and procedures for my referral capture program, right? And so then they can build it for them. So that's the biggest piece. I think people are hesitant on anything above just answering general questions, and definitely do not want bots in their software.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's something I wanted to talk about, because I know I was involved in a lot of conversations at the conference recently about that. So let me tell you what things are sort of either companies coming out with solutions in this space, or have already, there are some sort of solutions in this space and it's kind of taken off a little bit. But number one is the chatbots, AI assistants. I like to use the phrase AI assistant because they are able to dynamically take different questions versus, a chatbot can be kind of like a preset, questions and it will answer the same way every time, similar to when you go to Expedia or Amazon or something like that, and it's mostly preset questions and answers. So there is this area. We're not the only one. My understanding is there's possibly others, but there are areas where companies are working on having chatbots and AI assistants that are specific to 340B. So you have your general, chatbots in the market. You can go to ChatGPT. You can use Google Gemini. You can use Meta AI. You could use Microsoft Copilot, which if you're using Microsoft, it's right in the corner of your browser. So there's these general chatbots that are available in the market. But more specifically, what we're going to see over the next couple of months is 340B specific AI assistants. So for example, Justin was sharing, I did a demo on this at the conference. Kareem, our artificial intelligence assistant, that we are training to become sort of a helper to our covered entity. So if you're going about doing your job, what will take you, if you are trying to do something in the platform and you want to learn how to uncapture a claim, how to do an audit, how to run a report, how to change a setting and things like that, it will probably take you time to go and read the user guide, find it, message an account manager, call an account manager, etc. That we're making those processes more efficient by having an assistant available to help you and guide you on how to do certain things, right? So that could be one use case. Educational things are huge, right? If you are working on a presentation and you want to create a slide deck and talk about, the world of manufacturing restrictions and sort of get a quick summary of a couple of bullet points on how to put that into your PowerPoint presentation, that there is a dedicated AI assistant that can help you with that and can help you kind of do the day-to-day, that can help you analyze, right? Where you can upload a letter from a manufacturer and say, hey, here's a letter from this manufacturer. Can you summarize it for me and just tell me, like, what are the main points that I need to know? Or could you tell me what is the most recent manufacturer block conditions for Sanofi or Novartis or whatever manufacturer is out there. So this is where I think there's going to be really, really cool use cases of 340B program managers, directors of pharmacies, 340B coordinators, analysts, having AI assistants that are going to be there, kind of helping them. They're not at a point that we're going to replace your job or anything, but they'll be there helping you. They'll be there supporting you in your program. Then there's this new thing of these audit bots, which are interesting. There's some new companies that are sort of popping up doing these audit bots, which is like an automated bot that will be given access to your third-party administrator, to your electronic medical record, to be placed on your computer. And in theory, it sounds really good, right? I mean, I have done audits when I have been on the 340B covered entity side. I had done audits, and they're a pain in the neck. They take a lot of time. They're difficult to put together. They require time to look at to look at the data in the EMR. I get it. They take time. It could take you 5 to 7 minutes per script to do an audit. So I get it. It's a big pain point. Unfortunately, I'm not bullish on audit bots because of the data security. Security and HIPAA and PHI, it is sort of the most important critical piece of our entire industry, whether it's the electronic medical record, whether it's TPAs. I mean, we're held to a very high standard of showing data security and things like that as we are working with entities, that it is very difficult to justify having an audit bot being installed and having access to your system and stuff like that. So I'm not very bullish on it. I think it's a cool idea. I think it's a cool concept, and definitely commend the entrepreneurs and folks that are working on trying to develop these tools. And I'm sure hopefully there'll be a way to do it in a way that's safe. But I don't think we're there quite yet. The one that I'm really bullish on, Justin, that I think is really cool is an AI workflow automation. So I'm hearing some talks about companies coming out with ways to automate workflows. So for example, let's say that you are submitting, for example, reports to ESP every month, right? Or every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks, you got to submit reports to ESP. You have your TPA 1, TPA 2, TPA 3, and you have to submit that data. That's currently something you have to do manually. That maybe there is a workflow automation where that could use some AI automation or something like that to know, how to go and do that. That teeters on the level. Sometimes people use artificial intelligence for, something that can just be coded, and it's just a sort of like a task. So some of that, in order for it to be called AI, it needs some sort of machine learning component to it. But I think those could be really useful for 340B professionals in the future. It is to have that type of workflow automation that can use AI to do that. So that's what's currently in the market. Again, the technology is very new. That's what I want to talk about in a second. So there are some really good use cases, but not many. So here's the challenges of AI. Number one, as I mentioned, it's a new technology. It's very new. I would say in general, there has been a significant amount of investment into AI data centers, AI technology. Those of us that follow the startup world, if you will, you just put AI next to a fruit, and you're basically raising money right now because everyone is excited about this technology. But there's reliability issues with the technology. The chatbots hallucinate and make up stuff, and they give wrong responses. So it's moving really fast, but it's not really 100% sealed tight. I think it needs some work. And I lead an AI team, and I have AI engineers, and we're working on training our AI assistant. And so I know firsthand. I'm not talking to you as someone who is just reading articles online. I'm in this. We have our own assistant internally that we're training and utilizing, and I can tell you that the technology is very new and it needs some time to really develop. And I think it will get there, but we're not there just yet. Some of the other times would be efforts to interface. So what are going to be IT teams at a hospital that are going to want to implement some sort of AI technology? I'm already hearing, Justin, I don't know if you heard this, but I'm already hearing of certain healthcare organizations blocking access to ChatGPT from their browser and their computer.
They have. That's definitely heard that multiple times, especially in the big IDN systems.
Yeah, there's talks right now that Microsoft is having a tool that they're like taking screenshots of like your screen, and it's like saving it, right? So that you can have a recall feature. And unfortunately, that is also problematic in some ways when you're dealing with patient data. So the efforts to interface, the knowledge in-house, I think are all going to be challenges to really implementing this, AI technology. A lot of newer companies entering the space, because this knowledge is very difficult to find. The other thing is healthcare moves slow. If you are in healthcare, you know that the industry is bogged down by lots of regulation. It moves very slow. Sometimes there aren't a significant amount of investment in technology, and because of that, then the big sort of technology money behind a lot of these really cool companies, Instacart, DoorDash, Uber, etc., don't enter the healthcare space because it's difficult to break through and it's difficult to innovate, and it's a very regulated environment. So, that's another challenge that I think we're facing with these new AI applications, and you have to show clear efficiency, not just like, hey, I have a chatbot I can talk to. Like you have to show like there's a clear efficiency use case. I can be 50% more efficient as a employee, team member, if I had this tool, right? So that's kind of where I think it needs to go to in order to overcome that challenge of, I don't know, do we really need this? This is new, that type of thing. And then the third and the most important, the thing that I would probably repeat 1,000 times is the security and data breach concerns with the AI technology, and that is a big concern for people of how does this even line up? I mean, you just saw a couple of weeks ago you had the CrowdStrike issue where a simple code upload basically shut down entire airline industries and a bunch of stuff. So some of the stuff is fragile, so it's very it's going to be difficult to overcome that challenge of security and data breach to allow these artificial intelligence tools that can learn and can do things on their own inside of the server of a hospital, right? I just think that's going to be a challenge. I don't think it's impossible. I think we'll overcome that, but I think it's going to be a challenge. I do want to say it's 1:28. I got a couple more things to go, kind of like the back and forth at the beginning of the application shutting down kind of pushes back a little bit, but I'll go over a couple of minutes since we're going to record it and send it out. You're more than welcome to stay. I see we still got a big crowd. Thank you so much for staying with us. You're more than welcome to stay. I'm going to go a few minutes over, but just wanted to give you a heads up on that. Let's talk about future AI applications. This is what I get really excited about. Okay. So, and I really nerd out about this stuff. So again, an AI assistant, okay, but not just like, hey, can you, tell me what the GPO prohibition is, right? But something that can perform tasks for you. That is my dream and wish. If we could have what I call Jarvis for 340B. What do I mean by that? I mean, if you've seen Iron Man, one of the coolest series ever, if you've seen Iron Man, you know that Iron Man had Jarvis, this artificial intelligence that knew everything about him, his health and his Tony Stark could give him tasks, and Jarvis would go and perform it, and do it, and kind of. So what I'm thinking, and even Sam Altman, who's the CEO of OpenAI, has said this is sort of like the vision of peak AI technology is when you can build a type of Jarvis technology where it can know who Justin is, what Justin likes, where he likes to eat, what he likes to do, etc. And it can be a companion and an assistant for Justin and his personal life, etc. I know Justin is not probably a big fan of that intrusion into his privacy, so that he probably won't use it. But but I do see this being like peak level 340B use case. So picture having an AI assistant that you could say, hey, and I'm going to call it Kareem because Kareem is our AI assistant. But hey, Kareem, can you pull a report of all my 340B claims and tell me the average capture rate by month, right? Where today you have to go into your TPA, log in, go to the report, select the type of report, select the date range, hit OK. You're going to have to export, maybe take that data, put it in a pivot table, right? It takes you 15 minutes to do something like that. But imagine having an assistant that you can give these tasks, right? That you could say, hey, I got my compliance committee meeting coming up. You know, the one we did last month. Can you take that and just, polish it for me for my next, monthly meeting? And it'll be able to do that, right? Or analyze my drug catalog data and find where we don't have 340B pricing, and then take that, put it in a spreadsheet for me and send it to my account manager. I mean, can you imagine if we had a tool like that? I think people will be lining up for something like that. And that is something that I'm very passionate about. That's something that I'm working on ensuring that we can get close to that reality. Proactive data monitoring, this is kind of like the low-hanging fruit, is using machine learning to actively monitor your encounter data, your e-prescription data, your 340B drug catalogs, and all of that stuff. And basically know and be able to spot trends based on learning of when something goes wrong. So for example, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we're used to transmitting 20,000 records, 20,000 records to covered entity, to our TPA. And on Thursday, it went down to 5, right? So that the AI can say, okay, hey, that's a problem. Let me go ahead and send an email to the IT director, to the court, to the manager, et cetera, on identifying that. So you could use machine learning and you could use artificial intelligence technology in that. Again, everything that I'm saying are what I think the future is going to be. This is a complete guess. This is a complete, just ideas of what I think a cool AI future in healthcare and in 340B will look like. Will these things happen? I don't know. I can't predict the future. I still think that the security aspect of the regulatory environment of the healthcare system will make these things very difficult to to come to life. I think those are challenges we're gonna have to overcome. Third would be really cool, an AI-powered self-managed TPA platform. So imagine a world where there's no support tickets, there's no account managers. Everything works through an artificial intelligence assistant that is there to help you manage your program, give you insight on your data, and essentially provide you a way to manage every single aspect of your program, of your data, of your configurations, et cetera, completely automated, completely on your terms, right? So these are some of the cool ideas that I would have, as I call it, predicting the future. What does the future hold? And these are some of the things that I think are going to be really cool in our space, right? There's a ton of stuff that you can do in healthcare, a ton of ideas in healthcare in general, but in our space, in the 340B space, these are some of the ones that I'm really pumped about and really excited about. All right, so we call this webinar of how AI can reshape roles, and are you ready for it, right? So those of you that are on this call, you probably know that AI is not going to take your job. Okay, so AI won't be taking your jobs anytime soon. I think it'll be a very useful tool. I think that's good to say. Are there going to be harmful things that come from AI? Yes, I think there will be. But I think it's important to know that AI can be a really good companion, helper, assistant to 340B managers, coordinators, director of pharmacies, chief pharmacy officers, et cetera, to do your job in a more efficient manner, to help you cut 10 minutes here, 15 minutes there, 5 minutes there, and ultimately give you a better, I would say, experience as you achieve your goals throughout the day. My recommendation to you as a professional in the 340B space, so just turning this quickly into talking to you as a professional, is that you can stand out via education, listening to podcasts. There's some Google classes for free on YouTube, books, etc. There's a podcast called This Week in Startups that I listen to all the time that talks about the different AI technologies and does different demos on what's happening in the world of AI that I encourage you to listen to. Explore the tools that are out there, the ChatGPTs, the Google Geminis, the Microsoft Copilots, etc., that are out there, and use those same tools to educate yourself on what's going on in the AI space so that you are able to truly stand out in your organization, okay? So this is important. Why? Because AI is here to stay, and I do believe it will play a major role in the healthcare system. Exactly how, that's yet to be seen, but there's a lot of ways where AI is already being implemented in some large organizations in terms of reading radiology tests, in terms of providing like a nursing oversight, appointment scheduling, and things like that. So there's a lot of implementations already of AI in across the healthcare system, and I think it's going to trickle into pharmacy at large, and then the 340B program as well. You want to be the most valuable team member in your organization, right? So wherever you are, if you are a leader, if you are a 340B analyst and you're on this call and you're just listening and you're like, hey, what does this have to do with me? I think that you can increase your value to your organization by educating yourself on how to utilize this technology, on how to be prepared for this technology when it comes, when the vendors come in, when your boss is asking you about, hey, how can we use AI to help you do that task that's taking you, 20 hours a week and doing that in 5, right? And that you're thinking about those ideas and those things in a way that is helpful, invaluable to your specific organization. All right, cool. I think I went over. Okay, I went over by 7 minutes. I hope you all don't mind. Here's our information to contact us. Again, really grateful. Really appreciate you guys staying with us even through the technical difficulties. You stood with us, and we got all the way through the end. The slides are here. There's going to be a recording set. We'll try to take the recording and cut out some of the times where the application went down, so that it's not as choppy, but so we'll be able to do and fix some of that. So Justin, I'll turn it back to you and get your final thoughts on this, and maybe we'll do a couple questions if we have any.
Well, thanks, Anthony. I learned something today, I guess, about AI, but we appreciate everyone joining today. Like Anthony says, reach out to us. We are, I'm obviously the VP of sales, so I can walk you through a demo of our applications and give you more information about PharmaForce. Info at the PharmaForce will get me and the sales team. So please reach out. We'd love to meet you all virtually.
All right, cool. Well, thank you, everyone. Have a great day. Thank you so much for joining us today. And we will send the recordings hopefully in the next 24 to 48 hours.
Thanks, everyone.